Well, I'm downtown Portland, Oregon here, outside the federal building, and this is a demonstration by the Freightliner workers who are being laid off. Their jobs are going to Mexico. And you might wonder, what am I doing here? This isn't my fight. As you see, I'm a Brit. It's not my fight. Well, if you can read from my hat here, it's telling you that as Blair and other governments have signed away treaties, trading treaties to the European Union, we've ended up losing our whole country. We were told lies, we were deceived, that's all it's about, there's nothing else, and that's what they're telling these people here. And here it's starting to bite with the NAFTA treaty. We've got two senators here in Oregon. There's a senator and a representative. There's Ron Smith and there's Wyden, Republican and Democrat, and they're both voting for these treaties. And these people are here to say, no, we don't want that. That's not what we do, because this is our livelihoods going. We need our jobs here. We need our wages here. We're Americans and we work here. And that's the message today. We're going to go and talk to a few people here and see what they have to say about this. And remember, this is not a British problem. It's not a European problem. It's not an American problem. This is a global problem. This is what they're doing to us. This is just part of a whole. This is a symptom, and we've got to stop this before it gets any worse. These people have been thrown out of their jobs for greed and the lust for power, nothing else. That's what it's about. So we're going to talk to some people now and see what they have to say. Well, it's getting real noisy here. We've got cars going past, hooting and honking, showing their support. People arriving by the dozen, placards, everything. We found Ben here, who's from the Carpenters Union, and we've asked him to tell us just why he's here and what this means to him.
Well, I think it means a lot to the Carpenters Union, specifically the loss of middle-class jobs. They're shipping them out of country and overseas, and they continue to do this. The Bush administration says they're creating all these jobs, but the jobs they're creating are low-wage jobs with no insurance, no benefits, no likelihood of being a good citizen in the community by paying taxes or anything. There's also issues that may come up later on where the Carpenters Union will be affected. Prevailing wage may go away because of bringing in out-of-country workers to do federal jobs and all prevailing wage work, which we can't have. We do not want to see the middle class disappear, which we are. We need to fight for the middle class every day and continue to fight for the middle class, or there's only going to be two classes, the poor and the rich. And the Carpenters Union is a solid member of the community in all states, all cities of the country, and we need to continue to fight this so the middle class survives this onslaught from the Bush administration.
Well, that's great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You know, back home in Europe, especially in my country, which is England, UK, the three main political parties are all exactly the same. We have no one to vote for in our parliament. They're all on the same agenda, which is the same as they're doing to you here. I don't know if you're aware of that, because they try very hard not to tell you what's going on in Europe. That's why we're here today doing this. Because in Europe, they don't know that this is happening here also. It's a very strong message that this is not just between countries, but this is a global thing they're doing to us. You need to be aware of that, and it needs fighting tooth and nail. These people here are sure doing a good job of that. How do you feel about the fact that both a Democrat and Republican are both voting for NAFTA?
Well, I think both parties have left the middle class behind, and they have to reevaluate who they do represent in this country. It's very evident to me that they've got to really readjust what they're thinking and who they do represent, because it's not working the way it is, and we need to change this as soon as possible.
All right, and good luck to you. You need it, but you're doing a great job here. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Union brothers and sisters at Freightliner, and yeah. The other thing we want to do, you've already started with your signs, we're going to do it with some chants and speeches, is send Senator Wyden a message. What are we going to tell him? No fast track. All right. Fast track. So let's try a little chant here to get you warmed up. You ready for this? Everybody can hear me? Okay, I'm going to say it and then you say it after me. Hey Wyden, hear us say, fast track, no way. Hey Wyden, hear us say, fast track, no way. Hey Wyden, hear us say, fast track, no way. Okay, good. All right, I want the unions that are involved in this layoff. First of all, the unions representing workers at Freightliner that are being laid off. International Association of Machinists, Local 1005. International Brotherhood of Teamsters, Local 305. International Painters Union, International Union of Painters and Allied Trades, Local 1094. And the Service Employees Union, Local 49. Okay, and the sponsors, the laborers too? Really? And the Laborers Union. And the Steelworkers Union. All right. The sponsors of this rally today, we want to thank them as well. The Oregon Fair Trade Campaign. Northwest Oregon Labor Council. Portland Jobs with Justice. And the Cross-Border Labor Organizing Committee. Okay, let's get started. Let's hear from the people that are really being affected by this layoff. I'm going to ask Joe Keir to come up to the mic. Joe is a business representative for the International Association of Machinists. Joe is also a 23-year employee of Freightliner. Until Friday, Machinist Union members had been making Freightliner trucks in Portland since the 1940s. The Machinist Union represents the majority of the nearly 800 workers who are losing their jobs this week. Joe's here to give us a quick overview of what happened at Freightliner and why.
See the banner behind us that says the last union-made Portland Freightliner. It was built, it's gone. Freightliner will no longer be built in Portland. This is sad. We have politicians that are making dumb trade deals. We have deals that let other countries keep some tariffs and restrictions, and we're sending our jobs away. Stop making deals that hurt us. Get smart. Before NAFTA, Freightliner couldn't import trucks into this country. They had to make the Mercedes-Benz trucks in Virginia because they couldn't import the whole truck. That was the law. That was the requirement. They lobbied for NAFTA. They helped get it passed. They began making Freightliner trucks in the Mercedes-Benz plant outside of Mexico City, and they moved production from Portland little by little over the years. And now we see culminating Friday with 800 people being laid off and the last Freightliner produced in Portland. The company says it's a downturn. It's just because of the emission requirements. They can't sell trucks. The downturn is the reason that the plant in North Carolina laid off back to 2004, people with 2 years employment. The downturn is not the reason that Freightliner is laying back to 1994 in Portland, people with 13 years of employment. The company has stopped building Freightliner trucks here. The Coronado, which was the top of the line Freightliner only built in Portland, is now only built in Mexico. This is not because of a downturn in the truck market. It's a decision. It didn't have to be this decision. That plant in Mexico is hiring. This plant in Portland laid off 800. The company is building a new $300 million plant in northern Mexico near Monterrey. That's not because of a downturn. These decisions are because of NAFTA, and they happen because our politicians listen to the mucky mucks at the top of the corporations instead of the people. We need to be loud. Our voices need to be heard. Our jobs are important. Stop trading away our jobs. Companies will move and take advantage of the trade deals that are in place. We don't need that. We need the best deal for the community, for jobs, for the voters, not just to maximize profits for a multinational like Daimler Chrysler. That's right. That's the owner of Freightliner. We're losing 800 good union wage jobs, and we're asking your help for two things. One, we want your help telling Freightliner they need to keep the jobs here that are left. Keep building Western Star trucks and military vehicles here in Portland. We want a commitment from Freightliner. We want our politicians to join us in asking Freightliner to keep that commitment to our community. Number two, we can do this right now. We're passing out the flyers that have information and phone numbers on the back. Our senators voted for Fast Track. Fast Track is the way that the corporations wheel and deal and get the best advantage for them in these trade agreements, and then they bring it to Congress, and Congress can only vote up or down. They can't scrutinize the details. They can't look at all the things that these corporations have slipped in. We have to stop that. Senator Wyden, Senator Smith voted for Fast Track. We need to convince them not to redo it when it comes up in June. It will expire. Don't renew Fast Track. Enough is enough. We've had enough of these trade deals that send our jobs out of the country. We need jobs here. We need trade deals that protect the community and protect our jobs. No more Fast Track, Senators Wyden and Smith. We need to tell Senators Wyden and Smith, and we're standing outside of the federal building where Senator Wyden has his office. And later on, we're going to have a delegation go up and meet in Wyden's office. We want to tell them it's time to change your mind. Vote for the people, not for the big corporations. Senator Wyden voted for NAFTA, and we see what's happened. We're losing jobs. We've lost 68,000 jobs in Oregon to NAFTA. We have to stop this. Senator Wyden, you should be deciding to keep our jobs here. Senator Wyden, you should be deciding to keep jobs here. Senator Wyden, you should be deciding to keep jobs here. Senator Wyden, you should be deciding to keep jobs here. All right, I want to introduce you to some of the Freightliner employees that have been laid off. They've got a sad story because this is not the first time. Freightliner has taken advantage of these trade agreements and shift production over the years. It's the second time we've certified with the Labor Department that production has gone to Mexico. So listen to our Freightliner employees, and on the back of that flyer, look at the phone number for Senator Smith and Senator Wyden and call them and say, don't support Fast Track. Here is Sharon Ritchie, who is one of the laid off employees.
I've worked for Freightliner for approximately 13 years, and this is my third layoff.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Sharon Ritchie, and I was employed at Freightliner for 13 years, and this is my third layoff.
Hey, my name is Howard Jenkins, and I've been employed with Freightliner for 10 years. Can you hear me? No. My name is Howard Jenkins. I've been employed for Freightliner for 10 years. And I'm a victim of the NAFTA Trade Act agreement. I've been laid off. It's my second time. It's really a sad time because, you know, corporate America, Bush, Wyden, Congress, they seem to think that our jobs need to be, our trucks need to be made in Mexico than in Portland. And I didn't never think in this day and time that Congress and corporate America be trading jobs, you know, gambling with people's lives. You know, it's really sad. If you think about it, I mean, if anybody out here had enough money to buy a truck from Mexico, how many of y'all would buy one?
No! Hell no!
I sure would. But that's what we're facing at this time. So keep your support. You know, we all stick together. Maybe things will change.
Hi, I'm Eleanor Riley. This is my third time as a 13-year employee, and I'm just saying it's time for this to stop. It just has to stop.
Hi, my name is Joyce Gover. I've been there since '95. This is my fourth layoff. I worked there once from '78 to '81. They need to bring jobs back. We need our work. We need our families to be supported. Bring the jobs back.
Good going. You're all got your own chance going now. I like that. I've been asked to announce that in the crowd is State Senator Walter F. Brown of Clackamas County. Where is Walt? Where'd he go? Back in 1993, Walt and his late wife, Barbara Brown, were leaders of the fight to defeat NAFTA. Had they won, we wouldn't be here today. Okay, let me introduce somebody else to you. Barbara Dudley is an attorney, an inspired educator, and known throughout our community and the country as an expert on international trade policy and its effects on working people in the United States and abroad. She's here today to explain how a trade negotiating process known as fast track is connected to Oregon's job loss. Let's hear it for Barbara.
I'm also a proud member of the AFT, and I'm also a proud member of the Working Families Party of Oregon. These jobs, these Freightliner jobs, are on a fast track to Mexico. But don't think for a minute that that train stops in Mexico. That train is moving those jobs as fast as it can to whatever country has the lowest wages and the least protection for workers. And when the workers in Mexico get themselves organized, because in Mexico, the ratio between what the CEOs and the stockholders make and what the workers make is 1,000 to 1, which is better for them than the 400 to 1 they've got here. But in China, it's 9,000 to 1. So you can imagine where that train is going to end up. And when the workers in China start to organize unions and start to demand higher wages, that train's going to move on. It's going to go to Cambodia, or it's going to go to Vietnam, or it's going to go to Zimbabwe. It's going to go to wherever the workers are the most oppressed in this world. So let's talk about what fast track is. Fast track is a system that Congress agreed to. It was legislation passed by Congress. It's been passed by Republican Congresses, and it's been passed by Democratic Congresses. Wyden has never seen a fast track agreement he didn't like. What fast track says, and neither, of course, has Smith, let's not forget. What fast track says is that when there is a trade agreement negotiated, and a trade agreement that, mind you, has thousands and thousands of pages of detail in it, it goes to Congress and it has to be voted up or down within 90 days, and no amendments are allowed. That's what Congress has set itself up to have happen. Now, there are no rules that say that has to happen to us again. There is nothing that says that we can't negotiate trade agreements that are good for workers here and are good for workers around the world. There is nothing wrong with a little bit of protectionism. We want to protect family wage jobs. We want to hold on to our jobs. And we can do that if we have representatives in our Congress who really will stand up for working people here and everywhere and protect their rights to organize and protect their rights to have decent family wage jobs. That can happen. All we have to do, because fast track is coming up again before this Congress, and remember, we have a slight Democratic majority. So let's get these guys who we elected to do a job for us for a change and tell them to defeat fast track legislation. Thank you.
Okay, see what you think about this one. Ron Wyden, get our back. Vote no on fast track. Ron Wyden, get our back. Vote no on fast track. Ron Wyden, get our back. Vote no on fast track. All right, good. I was asked to announce this too, just so you'll know it isn't happening just in Portland. There were 850 members of the Longshore and Warehouse Union that worked for Del Monte Pineapple in Hawaii, got laid off due to free trade. Their jobs went to Costa Rica. So this is a national, international problem. Okay, I'm pleased to make the next introduction. Lynn Learbach is the political director, excuse me, of the Teamsters Joint Council 37. He's also here today to speak for the Northwest Oregon Labor Council. Along with members of the Machinists Union, the Painters Union, and SEIU, almost 100 members of the Teamsters Local 305 lost their job at Freightliner last week. So Lynn's here to share the Teamster perspective.
Thank you, Barbara. Good afternoon, and thanks for coming. You know, 15 years ago, the delegation here in Oregon, and we met with them and debated them and argued with them, and they were telling us how good NAFTA was going to be. Oregon would get all kinds of jobs, and us Teamsters would be trucking that stuff to Mexico because they were going to raise the standard of living down there so they could buy all our products. Well, guess what? Here we are. Now we're shipping the trucks down there, and they're going to bring the trucks back. Go figure. Before I forget, I should say this, and I'm bringing you greetings from our Joint Council President, Tony Andrews, who's in negotiations, or he'd be here speaking to you right now, and we all feel the same. Our hearts are out on this. But it is time to stop this and get a message. We have to talk to your neighbors. I don't know if the state realizes what we're in. Do your neighbors know it? We've got to get this message out. There's nothing good in NAFTA for us. You know, we talked about fair trade, not free trade. You guys have all heard that, because there is no free trade. Lee Iacocca raised it 20 years ago. He said, if they can trade on our market, I can trade on their market. And in Japan at the time, a Chrysler cost $50,000. There aren't many Chryslers running around in Japan. But that's the whole argument here, the whole issue. And we've got to do something about it. We've got to let Wyden know. We got to let Smith know. We got to let the rest of the delegation here. And I should exclude one. Peter DeFazio, Congressman DeFazio, from day one said NAFTA's no good. And it's no good for Oregon, and it's no good for the United States of America. And God bless Peter, because he's never left us on this issue. He's been there 100%. So remember that. But the rest of the delegation needs to hear from you. It needs to hear from your members. And yes, we're talking about Democrats who we all supported. And then they went and voted against our interest. It's time to stop it, and let's stop it now. And I know you will. Thank you very much. God bless.
Thank you, Lynn. Okay, so free trade's good for somebody, though, right? Yeah. Who's it good for? Yeah, rich people. All right, so here's your next chant. Wyden, get off it. Fast track is for corporate profit. Wyden, get off it. Fast track is for corporate profit. Wyden, get off it. Fast track is for corporate profit. All right, here's your next chant. Ron Wyden's phone number. You ready for this? 503 326 326 Okay, now write it down and call your senator and tell him what you think about this.
What's the cell number?
Cell number. Don't have. I got Gordon Smith's number too if you want that. Okay, now it's my deep honor and great pleasure to introduce my partner in crime at the Oregon AFL-CIO, the president of the Oregon AFL-CIO, Tom Chamberlain.
My brothers and sisters, so good to see you here today. And what a sad time for Oregon. What a sad time for Portland. And for those folks who grew up in North Portland where your families worked for Freightliner, what a sad day. But let me tell you something. This is just a piece in a puzzle. Collective bargaining, the right to join a union, fast track, trade agreements, it's all a piece of the puzzle, and that's take power away from the workers and give it to corporate interests. We live in a very sad time. Let me tell you something. Last week in the New York Times, they had a very interesting article. Very interesting article. The division between the wealth of those who have and have not are the greatest they have been since 1928. Let me put that in perspective. 300,000 Americans have as much wealth today as 150 million Americans at the bottom. And let's talk about their pay raise for a second. Those folks at the 1% of the 1% that will earn over $1 million, you know what their pay raise was last year? Too much. $139,000. We can hire a lot of Freightliner workers for $139,000 times 300,000. You know, I'm sick of being patted on the back during election time and then hearing something different when it's time to vote. You know, I'm looking for elected leaders who stand up with working people. I want them to stand up against corporate greed. I want them to stand up against rewarding their cronies with tax cuts and no-bid contracts. I want an America that's about Americans, not about corporations. You know, I want them to stand up and fight those folks who want a union-free America, because we're not going to let it happen. We're not going to let it happen. You know what? I want you to go back and not only call Senator Wyden, I want you to call Smith. I want you to call every elected leader that you know and tell them how you feel about fast track, how you feel about the Employee Free Choice Act, because I'll tell you right now, if we don't get the right to collectively bargain and join unions, 100 years from now, we won't have a labor movement. We will not have a middle class. We won't be able to be here like we are today, and it has to change, and it has to change now. My brothers and sisters, we're going to change America together. We're going to change America to represent the working people, the families of this nation. And together we're going to do that. Together, we will not blink. We will not falter. We are in it, and we're going to win it. My brothers and sisters, thank you so much for being here today.
Hey, hey, ho, ho, fast track has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, fast track has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, fast track has got to go. All right, let's hear it for Tom Chamberlain. And now a commercial break here for my favorite organization in Portland, Jobs with Justice. Jobs with Justice helped put this organization, this rally together, turned out a lot of you today. It's been a key organization in building the movement here in the Portland area. Jobs with Justice member organizations and their allies are committed to building the network even bigger. So we'll have more resources for the long haul that faces us. Any of you who have not signed a how many of you are Jobs with Justice pledgers? All right, all right. Any of you who have not signed a pledge card, please take an opportunity to do so. There will be volunteers circulating through the crowd. The pledge card commits you to come out 5 times a year for someone else's struggle, just like you're doing today. So we hope you'll take this key step for helping to build worker power in our community. All right, we're going to give some of the other Freightliner workers a chance to come up to the mic and say what they feel like they need to say to you. So let's hear it for the Freightliner workers again.
Hi, my name is Victor Pierce.
I'm an employee of Freightliner currently. I was number 5 on the layoff list, and they called some people back. So it was about a week or two ago I found out that I kept my job. But all that time, while I was waiting and wondering and hoping, I was standing with these guys, and still am standing with these guys because I'm here today. And I took the time off from my job, took a vacation day to come down here to speak with you and to let you know how serious our problem is. Because guess what? I'm still the next to go. Hey, we're making Western Star trucks right now. But don't you think they're getting ready to take those Western Stars down to Mexico or somewhere? Yes, they are. And guess what? It won't be 2 to 5 years. It's going to be soon. So I'm talking about the jobs that I have, and I'm standing for the jobs that we have and saying this trade agreement is not good for none of us in America. So I have a little dysfunctional problem. You might not know it, but I'm going to speak, because I wrote this morning, and I'm going to speak what's in my heart. The time has come for American people to stop and take a look at some things that have come in and has taken the heart, value, and economic blood of the blue-collar, middle American worker away. It has cut to the core the purpose and projected image of America. An image I can remember as a youth, our fathers going to work at business or a factory to produce products or services in exchange for fair wages so they could take care of our families and live the American dream. We have been asleep in the dark for too long, and it's time to shed some light. We'll wake up to the nightmare called NAFTA. NAFTA affects everyone in the United States that is looking to live the quality of life that our parents before us have struggled to provide for our future. And it's now in jeopardy of going 10 steps or 10 years backwards because of NAFTA and the Free Trade Act. The cream of middle America is being skimmed off, taking the very ability to produce some of the things that was started and made in America and build them somewhere else. Not that they are making a good profit already, but they want to take our goods that started here to make somewhere else cheaper and sell it back to us as Americans. To profit only the super rich. The uncontrolled pirating of profits for the affluent and the rich is making us a people and a government that will be super poor if we don't stop NAFTA now. The NAFTA trade agreement needs to be changed or stopped to save the lifeblood of the American economy and the American worker. While politicians and big business operate 24/7 to work in the interest of loving money and themselves and hoarding profits, instead of the interest of humanity and sharing some of the goodness that you and I have helped to produce, they have broken the last straw. If we are going to survive as the United States, we cannot let our jobs just uproot and leave because the love of money and not the love of humanity or the people, no matter what color, race, or gender, that makes up the United States of America. It's time for a big change. It's a day to let our city government officials know to stop NAFTA now. Stop NAFTA now. Stop NAFTA now. Stop NAFTA now. Stop NAFTA now.
Okay, are there any other Freightliner workers that would like to come up?
Hi, my name is Jason Pickard. I've been an employee with Freightliner since 1993. Fortunately, I was able to keep my job. I worked alongside Howard Jenkins back there for 10 years, and now all of a sudden, he's gone. There's a lot of people that are gone, a lot of people that are second or third generation Freightliner employees. It's a 60-year tradition of building Freightliners here in Portland. This is where the company started. And now they're sending all the Freightliners down to Mexico, sending them away from us. Like the gentleman before me just said, all of our stuff is going out and then they're selling it back to us. If all of our decent paying jobs are going away, we're not going to have the money to buy anything.
That's right. That's right.
They're just making our country poorer and poorer, except for the top 1%. That's
right.
They're the only ones that are going to have any money. The rest of us are going to be dirt poor. There's going to be no middle class.
That's right.
This NAFTA agreement, the whole idea was to bring jobs in and to make us all better. It's failed over and over and over. And they keep patting themselves, these politicians keep patting themselves on the back, saying that NAFTA is just a wonderful thing. And it's not. It's sending all of our paying jobs out of the country. They say, oh, well, you can just re-educate and go do something else, like electrical jobs or computer jobs. All computer jobs and computer programming jobs are going to India because of these trade acts. These laws are hurting America. These laws that they know are hurting America keep getting passed. And for all of these politicians that keep passing these laws that they know hurt America, they deliberately are hurting America and Americans. It's treason.
Yeah, that's right.
This is not just about profits. This is treason. We need to make this, sure in our minds what exactly this is. This is not just them patting themselves on the back trying to do a good job. They know it's failing. They know it's hurting us. And we need to stand up and make sure that they know that we know it's hurting us.
That's right.
We need to tell them to stop NAFTA, stop fast track, repeal it all. Keep American jobs in America.
Yeah.
Keep union jobs in America.
That's right.
Yeah, my name's Gary Bills. I worked at Freightliner for 29 years as a Teamster. I retired last month, but my heart really, really hurts for the people that are getting the raw deal down there today. And the thing that I'd really like to say to people here is that it's not a case that NAFTA is broken. I know some people are trying to convince the politicians, well, we've had it work for 10 years and it's broken. It's not broken. It's working just as it's intended to do. It was meant to transfer wealth from the people that work to the people who own the factories and all of that top tier. The people who use this massive amount of wealth that they accumulate to start social engineering the lives that we lead. We're already leading, insecure lives, what's happening with, the cost of living, the quality of our life, the benefits, medical, on and on and on and on. Everybody is understanding, I think, that their children are going to have a very tough time leading a life that's as good as their parents. That's because the transfer of wealth has never been greater to the people at the top. It's part of what I call, the corporate agenda. I got a button from a Canadian friend of mine, and it said, "Trash the corporate agenda." I love that button. But I started thinking about it, well, how would I explain to somebody what the corporate agenda is? Well, the corporate agenda is to transfer wealth from the people who work to the people that make their money from profits, interest, dividends, and rent. And if you looked at last year in the New York Times, there was an article that said, if you cut the pie, who makes wages and who makes the profit, interest, dividends, and rent, the ratio going to us has never been lower, and the ratio that goes to them has never been higher. And they're trying to accelerate that transfer of wealth. The only reason we have, a decent standard of living in this country is because of the union movement changed that turned that transfer of wealth around during the 30s, during the 40s, during the 50s, during the 60s. And with the attack on James Hoffa Sr., that was the beginning of the attack on labor. Hoffa opened himself for that attack, but that was the beginning, not NAFTA in 1980. That's when they started the rollback. And they're trying to get, momentum going. They're trying to look for weaknesses. And we have, unfortunately, people that think, well, the way to get ahead is to trust the politicians. Well, that's part of the problem. It doesn't matter what they do. What matters is what we do. That's how the union was built.
I'm Joe Escus. I'm also a machinist. I want to mention to you, not only is the 800... Can you hear me now? Not only is the 800 people losing their jobs at Freightliner, I want to mention to everyone there's many, many vendors that supply products for us in the city and in Washington and in Oregon. There's Conmet, there's Trim Systems, and the list goes on and on and on. Most of these companies are also leaving Oregon and Washington and moving to Mexico. So there's 5 jobs for every job that's lost at Freightliner. There's 5 other people in the community that are going to lose jobs, right on down to the guy at the grocery store. So this is a bigger issue than just Freightliner and the 5 unions there. It's going to affect everyone. There's a trickle-down effect. We remember what Ronald Reagan said about trickle-down effect. We just didn't know it was going south. Anyway, keep that in mind. Things are not going to get better. People have got to speak out. They've got to raise their voices. This is not a small issue. 65,000 people have lost their jobs. Don't forget that. In the state of Oregon alone.
Okay, Joe said we need to raise our voices. Let's do it one more time. We don't know if Ron's here today or not, but let's tell him what we want him to do. Vote no on fast track. 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 All right, good. Woo! All right, let's give a hand one more time for our union brothers and sisters at Freightliner. They fought the good fight. We're going to hang in there for them and be there for them if they need us again. Okay, and if you haven't had enough demonstrating, there's another one starting at 1 over by Pioneer Square for the Blue Diamond workers who are organizing with the International Longshore and Warehouse Union. So if you're on a roll now, if you're feeling the spirit, go on over to Pioneer Square. The address is 719 Southwest Morrison. The brother here in the orange sweatshirt, raise your hand here. He's going to march us over there. If you want to follow him, do that. And thank you all so much for being here today. One more hand for the Freightliner workers.
Okay, one quick thing. This isn't an Oregon issue. This is an issue for the United States of America. And during voting time, when you're talking to your congressman, when you're talking to your future president or whatever, we need to ask them, what are they doing about fast track and NAFTA? And we need to spread this to everyone all over the United States, on your email, in the internet. Let's send this out so that we can get this out, okay? All right, do it.
Okay, and I've got with me now Mike. He's from the Machinist Union, and we've just been listening to the speeches here. And oh boy, what a scene we're in here! This is just fantastic. So many people. Anyway, we're going to talk to Mike now, and he's going to tell us why he's here and what he feels about the job losses through NAFTA. Over to you, Mike.
Well, thank you very much. I just want to say, for me, myself, it's a hard hit because NAFTA is basically raping our country and destroying us a little at a time. And like Reagan once said, it's a trickle-down effect. We didn't realize that all our jobs were going to trickle down to low-income parts of the world. I'm not against the third world countries making a living On the contrary, what I'm against is the rich sending all the jobs to low-income third-world countries in the name of making themselves richer. It's not. I'm not against in any way, shape, or form businesses making money, but I'm against overwhelming greed that is so powerful it just sucks the humanity out of your heart, and it just completely destroys you to the point where all you see is a dollar sign. Well, this country is gonna cost me this much money, whereas this other country I can get for free, for cheaper. So I'll send my jobs here. That way I can make more money. That's wrong. That is heartless, cold, insensitive greed that overwhelms the soul, and it's just wrong. I am totally for companies making money, but it is wrong, the heartless greed that has overwhelmed them. And that's all I got to say about corporate America and heartless greed that is raping this country as it is. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike. So there you go. This is a good picture of NAFTA in America today. Now, I know everybody over there in Europe, we've heard a lot of people say, well, if we don't trade with the European Union, we'll trade with NAFTA. Oh, no, I shouldn't. It's no better. It's the same thing, and the same devil in different clothes, believe me. These people are suffering here. Okay, I found a treasure here. It's Patrick McKern. He's from Hull, actually, in England. And he's been living in Portland here for 26 years. And he wants to tell you what he knows and what he's seen about the trade union movement in America here since he's been here. So I'll hand you over to Patrick. Talk to the camera.
Yeah, hi. I think what's going on in America now is like what happened in Britain. They're slowly eradicating trade unionism here. It's they're not allowing people to organise. People that want to organise, they're bringing a lot of legislation against that. And even people who are in trade unions here don't realise how lucky they are that they have a union job. And, you know, and a lot of them don't really know the history of the trade union movement in America, which is really bloody. And there's been some tremendous battles for working people in America, especially by the IWW and groups like that in the early days, which they quashed. If I was in the turn of the century in America, if I was trying to organise here and they found out I was a foreigner, they would deport me because I was trying to organise, you know what I mean? And another thing that I see, I mean, I've been in a trade union now for nearly 40 years, different unions, is the lack of militancy, or they're afraid of standing up, or even afraid of bringing their own rights by their own union constitution to bear, because the management has them so frightened of their job, which they shouldn't be, because that's what the union's for, to protect your rights as a worker, you know what I mean? I see a lot of things in America, they're really frightened of socialism or anything that you mention like that from the propaganda that they've had over the years. And I don't see much class consciousness here. They think there's no class here, but there's a lot more poverty here and hardship than you can imagine, you know. But they don't really show you that in the media, you know. It's all like, you know, this is a great place and all like that. Well, in some places it's not, and if you really look at this place, it's got some really people who are really struggling here, you know. So, but people's got to get organised and start organising more, because if you stick together, that's where your power is.
Thank you very much. Yeah, there's great power in the people, is there not? Yes.
If you unionise, you know, that's what I think, you know, and I'd hate to see all these trade union movement here go the way it did in Britain, which is probably non-existent now, you know. It's and all those old guys who fought for it are probably turning in the graves, you know. It's a real sad thing for working class people to lose the trade union movement.
Indeed it is. And I mean, back in England there, we've lost our mining, we've lost the shipbuilding, we've lost the steelworks. We've lost just about everything because they've been chiseling away at us before. Well, it's going to be a long job getting across America, so they got us first. So, but as he said, yes, there is a power in the people, and we have to get our power back. We have to show them they are servants of the people. We're not their subjects, and we have to show them that, and they have to understand that. You probably noticed I've actually changed my hat the other way around. I've got my other hat on now. I'm the Department of Silly Hats. And yes, Dennis Kucinich, Democrat, standing for president, and he is so against NAFTA you would not believe. So look him up on the net and see what he stands for. You'll be well impressed. Great man. Okay, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks.
Okay, we've found somebody else we'd really like to talk to. You would have heard him a little earlier speaking on the mic up there. This is Victor from the Teamsters. And I'm wanting to ask him, does he feel that the government, even the union leaders, whatever, are becoming divorced from the people? Because after all, the government is supposed to be working for the people, not against them. And there seems to be a very big divide now where they are completely ignoring their wishes. They just don't seem to be looking where they should be looking anymore, and they're not communicating with us. So I'll ask Victor now to give you his views on this. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that today our society is just being bombarded with communication and information that is just not for the people. And our leaders, we can clearly see today, are not working for the people. They are working for their own agendas and corporate agendas and the rich. And the interest of oil and, humanity dealing with humans being humans has gone to the wayside because of the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eye, and the pride of life, which works into money. And what we need to do is we need to begin to be humans again to one another and act civilly. We need to get more truth out, dealing with morals and ethics and human relationships. We have a mandate within our own innermost beings to love one another. And when we are focused more on that and serving and helping one another with that love, it's going to change our world, and our world desperately needs to change. Today we are getting a lot of stuff that is propagated through just for the interest of money. We got music, we got theater, we got a lot of information that's being given out, even on the web, but it's on the principle, the bottom line is what is it going to profit in my pocket, and not care about what it does to the people that is affected with the truth of, or with the lies that are being given. Our people, black, white, it doesn't matter, are getting disinformation instead of real information that's going to educate and promote a healthy lifestyle. And I have a service, a ministry that I do that is designed to help promote truth. And when our society, when our media system, instead of just being so, we're being sensationalized with sensationalism and with fear and with things that excite you, and it gets you to go to see the next scary movie, or the WWF World Federation fighting, people killing, and yet we don't want to have wars, and yet we're promoting these things that promote hurting one another. I think there's a great imbalance in that. And when we do things that are going to help to promote and raise the standards of morality, because morality today is like here. 10 or 20 years ago, it was like here. And morality has just shrinked. And we have to get respect, we have to get hope, We have to get truth back into our legislation, back into the agenda of the affairs of how we treat one another and love one another with that, and make that our first priority. Then everything else will come into play. Our profits, we can be profitable and we can be loving and we can help one another and we can make lots of money, but not let money be the objective. Let be human service be our true objective of helping one another in the government and in the workplace and in the community. I believe we'll be a much better world for doing that.
Well, thank you so much. That so echoes what a message we've been trying to get across here. You know, in Europe particularly, they're trying to breed hate among the people. They're trying to get us to hate each other. So many manipulations and deceits to do this. And we mustn't. We just must not go that way. If we go the way, as Victor says here, of compassion, just be truthful, be honest and sincere with each other, we can't go wrong. That's the way the people get their power back, by not playing that game of hate that they want us to play. We the people stick together, not just one country or another, all together, the whole world, the people stick together. They haven't got a chance.